work schedule. It would have been hectic if I drove down every day, because it would be like 1,000 miles a week, so every month do an oil change, and within 3 years you might as well look at getting another car, because you got 150 plus, and every time you have some time off, throw it into the shop to get any maintenance done on it. And so we figured, I sat there, that would be cheaper if I had a condo down there. Never mind, like you say, sooner or later, it's a numbers game on the road.
Oh, great, you took away my clock.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to go ahead and take a chance.
6 o'clock it is.
I call to order the regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission, May 2nd, 2017. Mr. Walker, would you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Yes, Commissioner Van Wolfen,
Here?
Commissioner Wolfer,
Here.
Commissioner Armstrong.
Here.
Commissioner Baker,
Here.
Commissioner Krzyjak,
Here.
Commissioner Bacon,
Here.
and Chair Merritt.
Here.
We have a commission, not a commission, we have a full, and a quorum.
Awesome. Okay, item 4A, consideration of possible action to approve the April 4th, 2017 regular meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions or comments? I would entertain a motion.
I shall move.
Have a motion, a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 5, staff report.
Just one item. I did want to let everyone know that this will be Jan Mazie, or as you call the lady in the room. This will be her last meeting tonight, recording and producing for the town. So I wanted to thank Jan back in your room for all of her hard work coming to all of these meetings and sitting through hours and hours of things that probably bore her to tears. But it's been very nice working with her, and I hope she enjoys her retirement.
Absolutely.
We appreciate her service here and her diligence in keeping Mr. Pasiak on the microphone. Okay, moving on to item 6A. This is the public hearing portion of the meeting. The public will be given a chance to speak at some point during the process. Item 6A is the applicant is requesting a zone change to the subject property from SR 2.5, single-family residential 2.5 acre minimum, to SR 1, single-family residential 1 acre minimum. The subject property is within the Shadow Meadows Unit 1 subdivision and is generally located approximately 560 feet south of the southeast corner of West Road 4 North and North Reed Road. The property is currently SR 2.5, single-family residential 2.5 acre minimum under the Town of Chino Valley Unified Development Ordinance. The property has a land use designation of medium-density residential, 2 acres or less, under the Town of Chino Valley General Plan Potential Land Use Map. Currently, the site has a residential use.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you, you have an application for a zone change. Applicant is Ryan Metches. The applicant is proposing for a zone change from the current zoning district of single-family residential 2.5 to the proposed single-family residential 1 acre minimum. The property is currently located approximately 560 feet south of the southeast corner of West Road 4 North and North Reed Road at 2895 North Reed Road. The property is located directly east of the town limits. Some general information for the property. The existing zoning on the property is single-family residential 2.5. acre minimum. The lot size is 116 acres, and it is within the subdivision of Shadow Meadows 1. A brief history of the property. The final plat for the Shadow Meadows Unit 1 subdivision was approved by the mayor and Talon Chino Valley Council on February 16, 1976. The property was originally a 2-acre lot. In 1974, the property was divided into two 1-acre parcels. Before the 2006 adoption of the current zoning districts, the property was zoned R1, low-density single-family residential, 2.5-acre minimum. After the adoption of the zoning districts in 2006, it was designated with a single-family residential 2.5 single-family residential 2.5 acre minimum. The applicant is requesting a zone change to propose single-family residential 1-acre minimum in order to meet the current character and conditions of the property. Surrounding zoning, as you can see, the subdivision is completely zoned by single-family residential 2.5-acre minimum. Further to the east, we have the same zoning district, and further out to the east, we start seeing single-family residential 1-acre minimum. Under the general plan designation, the property is currently has a designation of medium-density residential, 2 acres or less minimum. The zone change of the property, when I have a materialistic detrimental to the surrounding properties, it will not affect the character of the surrounding area as well. The zone change will also be in compliance with the designation or with the current designation of medium density residential, 2 acre or less. The applicant went through the public review and hearing process. The applicant had a neighborhood meeting at site on April 10th, 2017. The applicant has been in constant contact with the residents, answering any questions or any concerns that they have. The applicant is also here in attendance. If you guys have any questions that I can answer, he can answer.
Did you go to the public meeting?
I did.
What was the public comments?
There was no attendees at the meeting. Like I said, the applicants beforehand were in contact with their neighbors. They informed them of their purpose, of their proposal for the zone change, and they had no comment or no concerns. One thing before I forget, the staff is recommending forward to Town Council with a stipulation of a 25-foot dedication of right-of-way on Reed Road in preparation for the future growth of the town and the extension of Reed Road.
Okay, so that appears on this property as well? Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I have one question. This is a platted subdivision, and it was platted with 2.5 acres minimum, and we're being asked to approve basically a split on a plat.
No, it is, like I said, the split was done in 1974. It was split, but it was never rezoned.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the plat for the subdivision was 2.5 acre minimum.
Yes.
And how did this split happen without having a replat on the subdivision? Because the subdivision doesn't show that it was split.
So if you look at the county's website, you can see, and I don't know if I'll be able to get it up here. I guess this is my only choice. As Alex said, this lot was split back in 1974. So
Mhm.
this is an existing condition that we're trying to revise the underlying zoning
Mm-hmm.
so that it matches the actual lot size.
I realize that.
There's been some other splits. I don't know if it's the same subdivision, but.
This is Reed.
Mhm.
This is Reed to one
Where
west.
subdivisions?
Mhm.
That's the property right there.
Yeah, right here. But there've been other splits. These all look like they were originally 2.5.
Pardon?
These look like they were all originally 2.5.
Mhm.
But there's
Yeah,
been,
that's his question. How did it happen?
yeah, but there's been other splits in that area, so.
Right, so this is the Shadow Mountain subdivision right here. Unit 1.
Yep.
This is the subject parcel right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't tell you how or why somebody split it down from 2.5 to 1. It's not the only split that's happened, and I'm not,
Yeah, I know, but my question was,
Right there.
is that with a platted subdivision, if a lot is split, there should be a replat so that the plat on record with the recorder's office is accurate.
this is what the recorder's office has.
No, it isn't. I've pulled up the plat for the Shadow Mountain subdivision,
Well, if,
Shadow Meadows. This is the assessor's map. If you go to the recorder, you will find that it still has the original plat where the parcels in question still show as one large lot, and then also the one on Eldred, which you can see has already been split. That also shows as one large lot. That one right about where your arrow is, move it
right,
up.
these here,
No,
and there's these
right
as
there,
well.
yeah,
And these as well,
right,
and these.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying they all should have been required to replat, and
Correct.
because, like I said, the recorder's office, if you look at it, they'll tell you how many units are in there, and they will have the wrong number of units versus the number of assessed parcels, because there's been splits that haven't been required to replat to show what the plat is.
Whose responsibility is it to replat this stuff?
It's the owners of whoever is applying for the split. It should be a replat rather than a simple split like you would in a non-platted subdivision.
Okay.
So back in 1974, whoever did this split, it was incumbent on them to get the plat revised.
So they're long gone down the road,
Yeah.
not
I'm-
existing.
I'm only making this so that in the future, we don't have this problem, because it's happened before, and, you know, some people come in and say, it's just a split, and they don't realize that subdivisions have more requirements than an
Exactly.
individual parcel.
And but trust me, I do not disagree with that. We have an issue with people that go directly to the county and record splits rather than coming to the town first, and we are working on a process to stop that.
I'm just saying that we have a number of parcels in this subdivision that are still, they appear to be vacant Or they appear to be a candidate where they could possibly be split. So if someone else comes in and says, I want to split my lot, we're going to have to tell them part of the process will be that you will be required to replat.
Correct. Yes.
So this stuff's all done, and it's been like this for years. We're just particularly correcting this one spot.
Right, exactly. And the issue here is that these people have been left with basically a legal non-conforming use, and the only way they can do anything with their property is to correct the zoning error that was obviously not their fault.
Right, okay.
If I may add just a little background, when I first came to the city of Prescott 20 years ago, this was happening all over the city of Prescott. And so I called the county. I said, well, it was easier times back then, and the rules were kind of stretched, and people just recorded things, took it down to the assessor's office. The assessor's office just recorded it.
And that's still the case, unfortunately. If it comes,
You better hurry, she'll be running in here to get you.
I know, it's our last chance. That's still the case. We've had conversations with the recorder's office about trying to slow down some of these splits, and if they are obligated under state law, if the form is correct, to accept and record whatever it is somebody presents to them. So as much as they would like to not do it, they really have their hands tied. But like I said, we're working on a process so that there will likely be a penalty for not coming to us first. And when we get the list, if we don't have that on our list of approved splits, well, then there's going to be some trouble.
Okay. All right, anybody else have any questions for the staff? Would the owner like to come up and speak? All right. If there's no questions or any discussion, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that staff recommends forward, the Planning Commission recommended forward to Town Council with a recommendation of approval of a zone change from SR 2.5 Single Family Residential 2.5 acre minimum to SR1 Single Family Residential 1 acre minimum with the stipulation of a dedication of 25 feet of right-of-way on North Reed Road to the town of Chino Valley.
May I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Okay, moving on to item 6B. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit in order to allow the use of horse boarding, horse shows, and equine events. This property is currently zoned AR5, agricultural residential 5 acre minimum, under the town code under the Town of Chino Valley Unified Development Ordinance. The property has a land use designation of medium density residential, 2 acres or less, under the Town of Chino Valley General Plan Potential Land Use Map. The site is currently being used as a residence and a hayfield.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you, you have a application for a conditional use permit. Applicant Tricia Santori is requesting a conditional use permit for the use of horse boarding, horse shows, and equine events. The subject property is located on the southeast corner of West Road 2 North and North Road 1 West at 915 North Road 1 West. As you can see, adjacent to the subject property is Del Rio Elementary School and Heritage Middle School. Some of the basic property information: the property is identified with assessor's parcel number 306-23-027. The lot size of the property is 14.76 acres. The current use is residential in a hayfield, and the current zoning is agricultural residential 5 acre minimum. Some of the surrounding zoning is: to the north we have public land, as well as single-family residential, half-acre minimum. To the west, we have single-family residential, 1 acre minimum. To the south, we have the same single-family residential, 1 acre minimum. And to the west, we have varied districts. We have light commercial, as well as single-family residential, 2 acre minimum, agriculture, 5 acre minimum, multi-residential, 1 acre minimum, and commercial light, agriculture, 5 acre minimum. The property has a designation of minimum density residential, 2 acres or less, under the general plan potential land use map. Again, the applicant is currently applying for a conditional use permit in order to allow horse boarding, equine events, as well as horse shows. Under the Unified Development Ordinance, under agriculture residential 5 acre minimum, these proposed uses are not listed, but similar uses that are in nature and impact are. Farming and agriculture are included, as well as upkeeping of farm animals are included in the allowed uses. Furthermore, rodeos, livestock auctions, fairgrounds, riding academies, and commercial stables are listed under the conditional use. Zoning administrator has determined that the proposed uses will be allowed with a conditional use under the agriculture residential 5 acre minimum. The applicant has gone to the public review and hearing process. She had her neighborhood meeting here in Town Chambers on April 10th, 2017. There was a attendance of 1 resident, and she had no issues with proposed uses. Some of the staff recommendations for stipulations in order for approval. And currently, the property encroaches into the public streets, both on Road 2 North and Road 1 West. Staff is recommending a stipulation that applicant dedicate 25 feet of right-of-way on both streets, both public streets. Other stipulations that are recommended is that there be no lighted arenas, no horse shows events after dark, adequate dust control as well. The applicant comply with all other ordinances, and the applicant will not confer to any other privileges other than the specified herein. I have gone or passed by the property several times. The property is adequate for the purposes that she is applying for. The property is completely fenced. There is sprinklers that will be able to control the dust. And the purpose or the proposed use is in conformance with the general plan as well. The applicant is here. If you guys have any questions or questions I can answer, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Anybody have any questions for the staff first?
I do. Is a site plan normally required to be submitted with a conditional use permit to show just exactly where any structures, corrals, or anything will be placed on site?
A site plan is part of the checklist that they need to submit. The applicant did submit a site plan where she indicated where the proposed parking will be at, where the horse areas would also be at.
Should we not receive that with the staff report?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think,
Would you please step up to the podium? Please state your name and your address, please.
I'm Teresa Santori, and my address is 915 North Road 1 West.
Thank you.
So we're not really, as far as a plot plan, we've put riding arenas, but we're really not planning to build anything. We love it exactly the way it is. So there's not a whole lot of change.
I didn't think there'd be any problem because the neighbors didn't object.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured they would have seen a site plan, but I was just wondering why we didn't see it. That's all.
You know, I
probably
believe I
just a
did
forget.
one. I did do, so, but it's really not any different than what's there,
Mhm.
other than where we put the arenas. I don't know if you've had a chance to drive by.
I drive past it almost every
So
other day.
you've seen all of our work.
So I know it's been sitting there. I'm thinking, man, property should be
We-
put to some use.
We love it. We've been wanting to get into Chino, and we finally, after all these years, did. So
When did you buy the property?
when?
Yeah,
We just moved in December.
I think it's been on the market for some
It
time.
has.
Yes, quite a long time.
But you know what? We've driven by it for 10 years. We lived
Mhm.
on the outskirts, and my kids go to school at Del Rio and Heritage and now the high school, and we've driven by it. And we
Oh,
were
that's
doing our
exciting.
boarding and our horse shows out on Yellow Brick where we
Mhm.
were. So this just worked out great. It's kind of a dream come true, actually. We
Good
love
for
it.
you.
We love it. So,
Happy
and
for
really,
you.
we're very active with the 4-H. The 4-H uses the dairy building for meetings, and I built the arenas so that hopefully they can use those, and, you know, that's kind of a big thing. So the horse shows will be small schooling shows, mostly for, you know, kids, and, well, adults do it too, but we're proposing to maybe do 6 a year, so not a whole lot.
Mhm.
You know, we're not looking to turn it into some bustling commercial anything. It's our home, and we just want to enjoy horses.
Mhm. I think the stipulations take care of that quite nicely.
Yeah, yeah. We don't want to do anything after dark. We don't stay up that late, so, yeah.
I don't either. I have a
Anybody- Go ahead.
excuse me, I have a question for you, mostly because I'm nosy. But there are 2 residences on that property, correct?
Yes.
Are you going to be using one for an office or?
We use one
relative?
for, I have somebody that takes care of the horses and that does caretaking in exchange.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if my family comes to visit and I don't have a caretaker,
There you go.
and I have an 18-year-old son. So we have all kinds of,
Sometimes there's not enough property far enough away for a teenager. So
I know,
I'm just
I
saying.
know. Well, he wants to go to NAU, but, you know, I said, we got this beautiful ranch. You don't have to go to college now. Makes him want to go even more. So.
How many arenas are you going to put? I know I've seen the one.
We're done. So what
Okay.
you see when you drive by, there's a nice big arena.
Mhm.
And then there's a dressage arena, which we don't have the white fencing, you know, we're doing this all ourselves.
Mhm.
It's a family thing, so this has been really labor intensive, to say the least.
Mhm.
And then there's a little smaller kind of a warm-up arena, you know, you see the,
Mhm.
so that's
Okay.
what there is. Nothing more. And then we're going to keep the other side that's green, we're going to continue to irrigate that. And we're not putting any kind of permanent fencing there, but we would just want to have it for grazing
Okay.
and keep it pretty. It was a little painful to cut into that beautiful field, but I think it looks great. So we're happy with it.
Okay. I'm glad to see somebody using it. It's a
We
great
love it.
property.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have a comment for staff. I thought that was excellent to show the visuals from the air.
Yeah,
this
that
is-
new video setup was awesome.
Did you fly your own drones?
No, that's actually.
I know, that was super
No, I'm
cool. You
kidding
didn't do
about
it
the
on
drones.
mine.
I figured you got it somewhere else.
That's
but-
actually a new feature from Google Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I thought that was very good in helping
It added
describe.
a high level of professionalism to the video.
Yes.
Thank you for speaking. All right, any more questions or discussion? I'd entertain a motion.
I'd like to, I don't see anybody speaking up, so I'll throw myself in there. The Commission recommends forward to Town Council with recommendation of approval for a conditional use permit in order to allow the use of horse boarding, horse shows, and equine events on said property with the stipulation of dedication of 25 feet of right-of-way on the north portion of the property along West Road 2 North and 25 feet of right-of-way on the west portion of the property along North Road 1 West to the town of Chino Valley and other stipulations as noted in the staff report.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, folks. All right, moving on to item 7, non-public hearing action items. I don't believe we have any of those, do we? Any discussion items that are not on the agenda? Any public comment? We're grateful that the public has spoken up again. Thank you. One thing before we have a motion to adjourn, Ruth, thank you for the right-of-ways. That puts us one step closer for our sidewalk to the school. Thank you, folks, for that.
What is the right-of-way? I don't know.
Okay,
It's 25 feet.
basically, well,
25-foot strips, because you own the street. You don't want to own the street.
Yeah.
If there's a wreck, you're liable.
So it's, from the middle of the street, there's 25 feet out.
So you may lose some of your trees, so you have to be aware of that.
That's what scares
Well,
me.
No.
actually, in reality, nothing's going to happen to the road right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not even going to take the trees out. And as Ruth said, what it does actually is lessen your liability, because right now, that road that everyone uses is on your property.
Huh. And the neighbors.
On the other side, yes.
the right-of-way will not impact you until some major change to the road system there happens. And
Busy road.
it is, but you're the only person, except for out by the highway, that has had any right-of-way there, and it's gonna take years of dedicated effort by the town staff and folks like you that need changes to get those right-of-ways.
So, I'm just curious, there's.
Would you please step up to the mic, or we're gonna get in a jam with the lady back there?
Yeah, sorry. So I'm just curious, I mean, this has nothing to do with my permit, but the building that's on there, that dairy barn, is probably 25 feet, if that.
Nothing's gonna happen to your building.
Oh, okay. You know which I'm talking about.
Yes,
It's pretty
ma'am.
close to the roads, so,
You can see on the map.
yeah.
That's a pre-existing building, so the town is not gonna bother you with it.
Okay. The well is right there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, okay. I just didn't know what that was. I heard it with the other one, too, the right-of-way, so that's just giving you the okay to put a sidewalk in?
Well, it was my facetious comment, because we've been struggling with a apartment project down the road, and
Yes.
people are wanting us to put a sidewalk into the school to protect the kids, which is a great
My
idea.
kids walk there,
But
so,
until we own the right-of-way to the road, we cannot do anything with that. So you guys are a good first step for us. Thank you.
okay, well, good. Well, I want to be part of the community, and like I said, I have kids going to school and one that's not quite in school yet, so they'll be using it.
Well, that'll be a very critical area for us in the future. Thank you. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
And a second.
I'll second that.
Anybody opposed to that? Motion's carried unanimously.